says now that it's being live streamed. Beautiful. And I don't know if it gave you that option to say that you consent to being live. Did Zoom just do that for you? No, just me. Interesting. That's a new feature.
I consent.
Thank you for consenting. So you should be able to see in the group our video popping up. And let me know if you see that. And we'll just get started in a moment. I'm going to get my computer. You do? Cool. I'll get my computer set up and my screen. For anyone that's joining us right now or in the replay, say hello. I'm so excited to have Emily here today.
So excited to be here.
I've had you on my mind for like, this is what always happens though. I have somebody on my mind like, oh yeah, for like months, and then it will end up happening. So, and over the summer for me, I'm not sure how it's been for you, but really just, I feel like I'm noticing this energy of people just trying to have like 2 summers in one.
Yeah.
Have one summer. And so the energy has been a little bit lower on social media and like things like this. Oh, Gabby's here. Gabby said hi. Hi, Gabby. I'm actually going to close out. I love Gabby.
Best.
We were supposed to have a chat today, but Gabby got her hair appointment confused. But we rescheduled and I'm really excited. Gabby's whole family.
Difference is.
Yeah, it's tricky. No, almost her whole family has birthdays this month. Like Gabby, I'm just going to tell about you, but Gabby, her husband, and her daughter. And I think you said that your son's an Aries. I was like, holy shit, that house is full of fire.
Fire. And oh my gosh.
Yeah, I guess she's like cracking up.
And she's got teenagers. So
yes, it's like, whoo, coming in hot.
Yeah.
Oh, Tao's here too. Hi, Tao. Yay.
Oh, yay.
Oh, I just love this space. I am so grateful to everyone that comes in this space. It feels so warm and loving. And I'm just having one of those feelings right now. I just like a lot of gratitude.
My heart is like feeling so fuzzed out and nice. So how do we see the little comments?
So you don't see it on your phone. So if you click into the video and like just have that video on your phone, it should be able to show you just like if you were watching the live, like
there. Thank
Perfect.
you. Yeah, a few technological tutorials with me.
I love teaching, and I love teaching people who like need teaching. And you know, if it feels easy for me to tell you, it makes my ego feel really good. So thank you for pumping me up. Okay, we'll get started. I'll do a quick intro. I mean, people who there are a few new faces that joined. Thanks to you, Emily. So for those that I haven't met yet, my name is Beth Porter. I'm an intuitive healer and brand alchemist. I'm changing the name of what I am all the time, but basically I am kind of moving this direction of creating branding for the new paradigm. So working with conscious entrepreneurs that are building businesses that are here for people and bringing their gifts into the world and doing work that is really needed and really aligned with, my values. So I also work with soul purpose seekers. So helping them heal old traumas and wounds, limiting beliefs, shit that they're carrying that we don't need anymore. So that, they can really uncover their purpose here and live with more alignment and happiness and ease. So that's just a little bit about me. And I'm running this series. I've been running it for like almost a year now, called What the Hell Is, whatever healing modality we're talking about. And really just the intent of this series and this space is to just bring different modalities to people so that everyone can learn and resonate with what feels right for them. And I'm learning a lot through this. So I really appreciate all the guests that have come on. And I really appreciate Emily talking about chakra toning and vocal toning and words that I don't really know. And I can't wait to dig in a little bit more. So I will hand the floor over to you, Emily, if you want to share a little bit about your background and let us know what you do. And then anyone who's here, if you have any questions, please drop them in. If you're watching the replay, just tag #replay and just tag one of us, and we'll make sure that we get, your question answered. So thanks, Emily.
Oh my gosh, I've just been so happy that I get to like spend this time with you and hang out and talk about all the cool stuff. So yes, I am a sound healer is what I call it. And I do something called chakra toning, which is basically making primordial tones with the vocal cords, using the body as the instrument and creating a frequency within your body, kind of becoming that frequency through the vocal cords. And it's just, to me, the most direct and easy way to heal the body. You always have your voice with you. It's your body was perfectly designed in terms of its acoustics to heal itself. So using the voice to switch your frequency, heal the body, change your vibration is just everything to me.
Okay. So I have questions.
Wait, you were cutting out.
Okay. I said I already have questions.
Okay.
Sorry, am I back now for you or no?
Yeah.
It might be a little laggy. But trying, let me turn off my phone too on AirPlay. Sometimes that helps. So you mentioned primordial, and does that just mean like primal noises? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so that sort of means like the stuff that was, you've heard like the primordial ooze, or like the stuff that was the very beginning stuff of
like life itself,
what we think of as the universe.
Okay.
And so primordial is sort of that like in the very beginning stuff. And really one of the first things that ever existed, as I understand it and as we know it, were sound waves. And then from that came everything. So it just is completely intuitive that if we could get back to like those roots of sound, we can do anything.
Okay. So first, maybe I should ask this. Like, how did you get into this? How did you discover this kind of modality? I know that you are a singer-songwriter, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay.
Your journey.
So definitely since I was born, my dad is a musician. Like he would like wake me up in the morning, like strumming his guitar, and we always sang and we always did music as a family. We're in a family band and we gig around town and do, art openings, weddings, things like that. And so music was definitely always a part of my soul, my very existence. And so that was definitely always something where I could feel like when I had the blues or if I was feeling anxious. I've coped with a lot of pretty high level anxiety my whole life, which went back to my birth story and things that we've done together.
Of course.
Beth and I were in the Metamorphosis with Elise, which was a really neat program about breath work. But anyways, so I noticed that when I was anytime that I would like sing and sort of like shift that vibration like through my voice, like I would feel better. So in the car when I was singing, which is in the car was a lot of times when I would get anxiety, I would realize that like, oh my gosh, my whole body feels so much better when I'm just like belting it out.
Yeah, like a just massive release, basically. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
Shifting energy in the body.
Yeah.
That's like the kind of the basis. And then many years later in my 20s, I worked with a woman who does sound healing, where like she uses crystal bowls. Her name is Trish Devaney. She was a mentor to me in many ways. And she would do these circles where you would lay underneath an amethyst blanket, and then there would be a circle of people, and you would sort of set your intent, and then everyone around you would like tone into you, and it would sort of like evoke this very sometimes strange but magical song. And so I did that for a lot of years, and that sort of opened my eyes to the whole possibility of healing my body through sound.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I'm guessing, you know, so I guess what I'm like, there's so many things I want to say, but like, calm down. I'll just talk from the I personally have, it's even hard to, I feel like it's not wanting to come out, but I've had to do a lot of work around my throat chakra and liberating my voice. And there are many, many reasons, past traumas, past life traumas, even my astrological placement is like Chiron and Gemini, like all the things, you know, it's
all
like,
the things.
so it's like a theme,
a
lot of blockages. Yeah. The first Akashic Records healer I worked with was like, you have a tear, what'd she call it? I didn't know these terms back then, but she was like, you have a tear in the golden web of your aura, like right at your throat chakra. And then also like all of these like past life cords and connections to when I would use my voice, I would be abused or, you know, tortured or something like that. So it's been a lot of, especially in the past year, you know, year and a half, like really starting a business and showing up and sharing what the beauty of the work that I'm here to share. I've done a shit ton of healing around being seen and using the voice. Always more to go. But there's always been this part of me, if you think about, I don't know if anyone else resonates with this, but I'm a Leo sun. My birthday's next Friday. But it's also in the 12th house. So it's like in the most introverted, like subconscious part of your chart. So that really like tampers kind of like the Leo energy that is here. That combination.
Why you chose to be a Leo, because you needed that.
Yeah, needed get it out. And I've always had this, like, if I were to just like close my eyes and like dream of what kind of career would be really cool, I'm always blown away by musicians and singers specifically who just can access such a, you know, interesting or beautiful voice. And just saying, one of my best friends growing up, she didn't even try. She just was like such a good singer. And I've always been so deeply like mortified of my singing voice. And my voice is fine, you know, like it's whatever. You know, it's a little high pitched and sometimes I feel like I sound like a mouse, but thank you. But it's, you know, over, you know, the past couple of years, like really just, you know, learning my human design and all this stuff, knowing that I'm here to really be like sharing, like I have a defined throat. It's connected to my mind. I have the 4323. It's like, you've got ideas that are here to be voiced. And it's like part of your soul's purpose to be speaking in some way, whether it's through, you know, language or messaging or even design, like all of that kind of stuff. So I'm curious, you know, I feel like I'm like a perfect person to work with you. And I've told you that before. We just haven't gotten to that point.
This is like making me so excited to have a session with you. We will.
We will. Not on here, because I will probably like, I would be like way too mortified to like make noises in front of any primordial noises.
I would make you do it in front of everyone. Your first time, no way.
Yeah. So, but like part of that, because that's been my experience, and like, you know, being seen and being heard is such a big part of like feeling safe here, like on earth, I feel like. Yes. And so, you know, some people call it like a day one issue, like being like, oh, you know, just get over that, like, you know, feel the fear and just speak anyway. But like for me, I couldn't do that. Like my nervous system would just go like fucking crazy when I would just force myself to show up when I didn't feel safe. So I've worked with my own ways to kind of like navigate liberating the voice, also doing healing and all that stuff, but, you know, tending to the fear before showing up and speaking. And, you know, even just noticing how, I'm having total Leo moment because I'm just talking about myself, but hopefully this is helpful, but just noticing how if something is like deeply connected to my heart, how much harder it is for me to say it, to people that I love, even like my husband. For a long time, I didn't share parts of my spiritual experience. I'm still learning how to, just like say what I'm doing and what I'm into, with the people that I'm like the closest to, because of that, fear of rejection and all that stuff. So I guess with all of that, the question that's in there is, do you typically work with people that, like, who do you like to work with? Like, what kind of person comes to you to receive, a toning?
Gosh, there are so many things that you said that I want to address in that.
Sorry.
So, I honestly, my ideal client is someone who's just ready to open. If you are a human in a body in this time, like, you need to work on your throat chakra.
Yeah.
If you're a woman to boot, like, it's just, it's not a first day issue either. Like, I want to address that. That is, like, it's not, it's so very.
I disagree with that too, but I was hearing that a lot last year and I was like, God, I can't get over like the step one.
No, that's not a step one.
It's like, it's not one.
Well, that's true. But I love that you talked about like how, like, when it's like deeply attached to your heart, that like that makes it increasingly difficult. Okay. So ideal client, really, are you a human? Do you have a body? Are
you living right now?
Yeah. Are you astral traveling right now? No. Okay. Let's do this. I really believe that. I think every single person, I think it's a forgotten modality, a forgotten innate thing that we do as human beings, that where we just vocalize in tones and not even in, like, vocalize like feelings, change of vibration. It's a way to commune with spirit. It's a way to ground. It's a way, I do it before meditation and when I'm driving. I think that, like, people should be doing it all the time. Everybody, every single person, regardless of whether you think you have a good singing voice, is so irrelevant. It's like nothing. It absolutely means nothing, because even when I am teaching people the tones, what the tone that I make for my root chakra is not going to be the same as the tone that you make for yours. I can feel when you're there, when I start to get like the messages, I can actually like feel in my body when the frequency changes. But if you're feeling the vibration and the permeation, like, of the tone, like in that chakra that we're working on, you're doing it right. And it probably isn't going to sound, it's not, except maybe save the heart and the throat, like that, those sound a little bit more like pretty to the earth ear. It's going to sound strange. And it's because on the deepest level, from the beginning of when we kind of started to organize our civilization, that was suppressed. Like, you're not allowed to make strange noises that enable you to transport yourself to another realm. Like, that was so squashed down that it was really, during certain times, like, you weren't even allowed to make those tones. So like the sort of like the ancestral traumas are real. Like, you were not supposed to share your voice in that way. And especially like in groups and in circle, because that was a whole thing. So I'm happy that I feel like I've really completely found my purpose. And I don't feel like, I know there's tons of people doing sound work, but I feel like for whatever reason, the way that I've discovered sort of my gift of teaching people how to really make the sound like in their bodies, and like I can tell when they are and aren't, and it's a practice like anything. Making a tone like ooh in your throat versus like ooh, like using your body, like it's a fully different thing. So I'm happy that I get to do this work, and I'm happy that like people are opening to it. I think as a collective, more and more people are like, there's something about sound, like something's happening there.
Yeah. I mean, from a sort of, maybe this is a little bit out there, but even just thinking about, what we're existing in right now with wearing, mask wearing even, and like the covering up of, being able to speak loud, it's like I'll be wearing my mask in a store or whatever and be like, hey, I don't know if you can hear me because I've got the mask. Like there's just a big thing happen. I don't want to get into like all of that, but I just feel like there's a big call to liberate in different ways. And the voice is huge. And also with platforms that we have now where you can really be seen and heard, like through social media, in a more broad, way or whatever. It's a huge theme that I think is going to be around for a long time. And the note on like generational trauma, like, is no joke. I work with that a lot.
Right. It's a lot. It needs to be healed, and it's coming up on every level. I mean, even as so far as just like how people hardly talk on the phone anymore. I mean, it's great because like Zoom has sort of gotten into that thing, but like there's something even lost in the whole fact that all we do is text, because like toning, vibration, and like sharing a communication through the heart chakra through tone is such a different thing than typing it with the thumbs. Like it just changes the entire energy behind and information exchange.
Totally. Well, and you're talking about like, creating you can't see me, but like creating vibration with it. I'm like, I'm down in my belly. I'm like, oh, you can't see me. Creating vibration to get things moving. And, I talk a lot about stuck negative emotions and how they get stuck in certain organs. And, this sounds like a really, like you're saying, once you learn how to do it, it sounds like a really accessible way to almost like have maintenance on yourself. Like, I mean, for me, after client sessions, sometimes I'm holding, sometimes, depending on what happens, we hold emotions for each other. And sometimes I'll come out and be like, oh, I can feel that I've got, I picked up something from the session. So I need to release. And I could see that being a really beneficial tool in terms of just, like you're saying, daily maintenance and keeping your system open and clear. And I just keep like, I can just see like almost like cells like shaking out the, how like animals, when they have trauma, they like shake this feels like, a way to do that.
Yes.
And the idea of like sounds, us being taught that we aren't allowed to make weird sounds. I mean, think about when you hear a child having a temper tantrum in a store. Typically, I very rarely, and I have seen this, but I very rarely see a parent just like get present with the child and just like hold them in that experience of the temper tantrum, because it's so not okay in our society to lose your shit and use your voice really loud. And, I'm not saying that anyone's doing anything wrong there. I'm just saying that that's just what we're programmed. And so you're taught really early on to like silence that, like crying and expressing, especially in public, is like really not okay. And you think about other things like burping or like farting, like noises that are weird.
I was completely going to go there next. I'm like, think about the anxiety that you get around like holding in something that is a very natural, very essential. Like you would be poisoned if you weren't able to like expel gas. Like we have these human bodies that like need to have that release. And we have been so trained that like, that's the end all, like you're not like burping, farting, like you can't do that. That's not allowed. How is that okay? Like, how has that become a thing where, I mean, it is so deep rooted, that whole silencing of every noise that isn't proper,
that isn't totally. And you were starting to touch on sort of like the history of that. And I think of like when people started to get silenced or whatever. And I would be really curious to like go down that rabbit hole and learn more about sort of like, to me, it feels like it would, this is just a guess, but like stem back from people who were, afraid, people who want to control basically and keep, I don't want to like go into anything political or anything like that, but you know,
I mean, we could
oppressive
go
natures.
way back when it was like Egypt and they were shifting from like matriarchy, and how, I mean, pyramids are actually acoustic
Oh,
chambers, where that was a whole thing that I feel like I just know about. I don't want any historians
yeah.
fact checked me, but in my like gut knowing, there was something to do with that, and then only a select few, like that sort of, that whole chapter, were able to access that and like join their voices in that way.
Gotcha.
And that only the elite were like allowed to like go into those chambers and like do like the sound healing thing. I think that's completely a thing. I think, I mean, and then you could go to, you know, women and the witch trials and all of that, where it was such a thing to gather around a fire and sing together.
Yeah.
And, you know, moon ritual and do, you know, tone, join all the voices, shift the vibration and get that power going. And then that was completely shut down. Like you just weren't allowed to do it anymore. Like what does that do to one's throat chakra?
Yeah. Yeah. And like soul. Yeah.
Soul.
For some, this is like a little off topic, but it kind of made me think of even just us talking about like having natural processes that need to release from the body. I mean, talking about emotions, like their energy and motion. So when we are repressing negative emotions, they get stuck because they're meant to be in motion, they take up space. But then even thinking about what you were just saying, like how periods and menstrual cycles, you know, blood that is meant to be released and flowing, you know, is so like, I mean, where things are changing now, but has been so taboo. I mean, even I used to design pads and tampons for Always and Tampax. And, you know, we would be addressing the issue of like trying to make the wrapper really silent so that when women and girls were in, or folks who have period menstrual cycles were in bathrooms and were embarrassed about the noise, or like trying to make the tampon look like something else so that you could easily carry it in your hand, or like put it in your, or like create purse, like little purse satchels so that were cute, so that you could, anyway, all these ways of like masking something that is like just fucking normal and should be celebrated. It's literally what helps us create life. Like,
yeah,
anyway,
it's so bizarre, like how convoluted and strange it has been. And I mean, just even the way that we operate, you know, back in the day, not that long ago, there really were, I'm going to get weird here, but that's okay.
We're doing it.
Talk about this. The whole, like the red tent, where all the women often were, because they were sharing their energy, were all synced up, and they went to the red tent and they bled back into the earth. And that was actually a complete and total important exchange between like Mother Gaia and women. Like she needs that nutrients, like, and that like exchange of like cells. The fact that we don't do that anymore is like not good for her either.
Right. It's like not regenerating.
We're not supposed to be working. We're supposed to be laying. Maybe people are fanning us, like, you know, we're on hay.
I'm like, dope.
Feeding us like fruit, you know.
I'm gonna tell my husband next period. This is what's happening.
No, but
get
really,
your fan out.
We are not designed. It is supposed to be a time of shedding, regeneration, giving back to the earth, and then taking like her energy like back in. It is such a beautiful exchange that has been completely stifled, and then we're you know, trying to do it silently, work through it. I mean, I actually get a low-grade fever and have I've kind of tried to embrace it more as I've gotten more comfortable in the way I do things. But and also now that I'm working from home, I have the luxury to rest during those days. And I'm a fan of the Diva cup. I think it's a nice sustainable way. And then I put it on my plants, and my wife thinks
cool.
it's a little weird.
Yeah.
She really was. She's like, oh God.
She's like, is that okay. Okay.
They like
You're doing that, aren't you?
Yep. Yep. And I think it's really but again a thing of repressing all of these bodily functions that are supposed to be expressed and embraced, and then also have it be an exchange between like our environment and ourselves, like our land and our bodies.
Yeah. And that makes me even think, I mean, we're just going to keep rolling here if you're cool.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say hi to Amanda and Akinsa who joined us. Hello. Just talking about your voice and periods and all things bodily function wise that are natural.
This has really morphed into.
It really has.
Well, I love it. I'm glad that we're talking about things that are taboo, because that is, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. And I think that there are a lot of, it's interesting because going back to the voice, there are a lot of people I think that are working to shift that by using their voice in one way or another. And what's interesting is I find that if someone who identifies as a woman is saying these things, then you see the masculine start attacking that side of the feminine, and we're in this weird space of like trying to recalibrate masculine feminine. And I see the feminine getting like really like almost like really loud and almost like a masculine like energy. I'm kind of like talking in just very like broad terms, but like swinging the pendulum of like, my voice has been repressed for so long, so now I'm gonna fucking scream, and then at anyone and everyone in my way. And it's like, okay, there are ways we can work with that to bring harmony and like you're saying, this relationship between us and Mother Gaia, like this regenerative, reciprocal experience. And I think for me, I have a Libra rising, or no, I don't, sorry. I have a Libra South node. I was like, not me. And so I have this like tendency to, how do I say this? To try to be, I'm like doing it right now, try to create balance and have diplomacy, and like, I can feel how you feel and you feel, and I want to find like a happy medium or whatever, which caused a lot of codependency. So that's, I'm not saying it's great, but it's something that I've noticed in my own experience of liberating my voice is, how do I find this way of using my voice that is saying what I want to say and nuanced enough to hold space for multiple truths? Because, there's voice and sound is truth, and, connecting to that, and in a way that is not, it's not about squashing what I really want to say, but in a way that is, I don't know the right word, not to make it more palatable.
I'm writing that down of holding multiple truths. Like that is everything. Boy, that's
so important right now. I mean, it's been important, but like we're seeing so much, this is the way, or this is the way. I mean, like, and also we're seeing, if we want to hold multiple truths, we're also seeing a lot of spaces that are honoring non-binary thinking from actually non-binary people who are here to show us that there is a spectrum that we all exist on. Right. That being just a broad way of seeing it, but also encouraging us to see how we all within each individual have multiple expressions and ways of being and thinking. And we don't have to hold definition. We can hold uncertainty and still be okay. So anyway.
And not, the whole thing of truth and defining things, and, that starts to pigeonhole as well. I mean, language can't even hold a lot of what even is truth. That's kind of goes back to why I love this whole toning thing. And something that sort of started to come up for me too is, as I'm doing it, I've been channeling some light language, and that seems to be a whole other level of just basically expression through expression and meaning through vibration and like truth that is defined.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm following. I want you to define light language for us, for the folks that aren't. I'm not super familiar. I've experienced it like once or twice, but curious, yeah, how you define it.
I wasn't even really familiar with it. And I had a session with Valeria, and she had been doing it, and she combines hers with like a lot of like hand motion. And she was like, my guides say that you can and should like try
Explore this. Yeah.
too. And I'm like, I don't know, like maybe, okay. It really wasn't on my radar. I wasn't really feeling like anything. And she's like, well, let's just like try and see what happens. And so she just had me do like a like vibration with my voice coming out. And then it just sort of flowed. It just basically like sounds and tones that you just let come out. And it feels like they are being sourced elsewhere, because when I've done it like maybe 3 times now, and the times afterwards, like I am just like charged.
Yeah, like vibrating.
Like flowing. And
yeah.
And I think that it has to do with that being sourced from another place, but also opening that channel to just like freely like let whatever is going to come out, and like not trying to tamp it down or make it into anything. Just being like, what's going to come out here, and like letting it, what needs to be expressed, and then letting that flow, and the freedom and like just pure joy feeling of that, I think has tremendous power and healing as well.
Yeah.
So for me, light language is just a free expression. I do think it has to, and I think it's different for everybody, because I've heard some people do it and it sounds like very like Native American.
Yeah, I've experienced different ways for sure. Yeah. Where it sort of sounds like weird language. You're like, what?
Elise and Andrea and Emma, they were all like, whoa, like, because we did a ceremony circle, and they were like, I feel like that was like an encounter. Like it did feel like that time, it felt like it was like very extraterrestrial. Who knows? It's not my main jam. My main jam is doing the toning, but it does have to do with language not needing to be so defined. And that goes to something I just wanted to mention as of like when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're just like, like, and you like you like grunt and you let like that's your body's natural way of being like, please let me do this.
Yeah, I sigh a lot. Like my husband, okay, what's going on? You keep breathing heavy. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sighing. Didn't even notice.
You need to express it that way. I sigh all the time too, and I burp a lot. I feel like I burp way more than the average person.
Well, in healing sessions, I burp with clients a ton. And so I always say, like, if I'm yawning's like the main release for me. But yeah, yawning, burping. I've never farted, but who knows, maybe that'll come. I've had clients like almost throw up. It's like, the release is real. And especially if we are so used to, and we are conditioned to hold everything in, your body will find a way. Coughing is another big one I get with clients that don't connect with crying as much. Sometimes crying is like so repressed that like, especially with males, when I work with males, they're like, when they're working, they cough a lot. Yeah.
Completely. It's funny, different things that come out too, like based on the different chakras.
Where you are in the body. Yes.
The solar plexus will, and it even sounds like it can cause, I like give that as like a little warning, feelings of nausea.
Yeah.
And it can make people feel like pretty gaggy because you're making like like really, that's kind of what it's
no, totally.
And when you're doing the gagging, and what was the other thing that I was thinking of? Oh, well, I mean, doing the third eye, like with like headaches, and that can help like relieve, there's I think the point I'm trying to make is that there are physical remedies that can be used this way too.
Sure. Yeah.
So like I had a bellyache really bad one time and toned my solar plexus, and I ended up toning it like 30 times. And then I was like, I didn't have to take medicine. It moved that energy. And
Right. Yeah.
okay.
Love that. I'm just like so excited to do a session with you.
Yeah.
There was something I keep thinking this, so I'm just going to ask it anyway. And maybe I should be waiting till after and ask you this privately, but I'm going to do it right now if you're okay with that. Do you have, or are you planning to build out like a self-study or a course like for group? Because I feel like this would be such a beautiful thing to learn in a group and to be coached because of that like factor of being seen, being your authentic self, like is so powerful. So yeah, you're lighting up. So I'm like, tell me more.
Thank you for asking this. This is so funny that you brought this up and everything, because Emma just read my tarot yesterday. She does, her weekly on Elisa's group.
Yeah.
And she was like, you're going to meet with someone really soon and talk about your new endeavor. And I was like, I mean, I know who that is. So
I've been like dying to ask the whole time. This is so funny.
I'm working on, and it's getting there. It's a lot of content. I'm so proud of it. I think it's going to be really amazing. But I'm doing a course on Teachable, and it's going to be called Sounds of Ascension, and it is going to be like the full find your voice for your frequency package, where we completely like step by step. I'm going to have the tutorial on like written and then videos on how to make each tone, and then also complete support, the crystals, the herbs, the foods, the exercises, every single thing. Like if that particular chakra is blocked, then okay, like yes, we tone it, but then like what else do we do to support it?
Yeah.
And then a weekly call, because community is everything. And I think we've that's how we met.
We met, and I didn't do Metamorphosis. I did the I don't know why I can't think of the name.
Oh,
the Awakening.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where we met. But yeah, no, and those community calls, they're huge. Especially I feel like in the past, this past year and a half, whatever, everything that's happened with the pandemic, being able to connect in community and be working on these sort of semi, I don't know, alternative ways of operating in our world, to be really supported. And that is like so huge, because you're like daily life, like catching up with friends, like out at a bar or something, you're not going to be talking about, it's not as comfortable to talk about like these crazy spiritual awakenings that you're having like at home. So I found that these community courses, like I really believe in them. And that sounds amazing. I'm so excited. So when you have that together, please feel free to share about it in this crew, and would love to support you in any way in sharing that. Sounds amazing. Good.
I need brand guru.
Well, also working on my own course around branding, but still offering support with people for people for one-on-one as well. So yeah, would be happy to help.
I'm doing that. And I know you're doing a workshop soon on Canva, which I think I'm going to definitely do that. That's such a cool thing. And you're just.
Canva is, just as a quick side note, it's totally like, it can be really overwhelming if you've never really like worked in a program like that. And there's so many options and so easy to get distracted of like, how do I like this thing, but does that really work with my brand? Is that really communicating what I want it to communicate? So yeah, in there, I'll help you kind of like understand how to take templates even that you like and use them to your advantage to work smarter, not harder, and to have a cohesive, brand presence. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I'm super jazzed for that.
I think that is going to be so awesome.
Yeah. And it'll be fun. And if you're working on something, you can submit it and we'll, address, I'm going to pick a few to address like live so that it will just have greater teaching for everybody. But yeah, I feel like, okay, well, I'm not seeing any questions. Gabby says that the course sounds fantastic. Yes, it does. I'm curious is there something that I should have asked you that I haven't asked you yet? I like to ask that because sometimes I go around too excited.
I'm glad you asked me about the course, because I am excited about that. That was going to be something that I was hoping you would ask me about, but
you just asked me to ask you then.
Yeah, not asking, in case, just letting everybody know. Beth and I were discussing how when we first met, I hadn't had a computer in 10 years. And so I was just doing everything on my phone. So she was giving me good feeling that I've come a long way.
Yes, Emily has come a long way, even just from like January to now. Yes. So I'm really proud of you.
I'm not telling that old story anymore. It's not a technophobe. That's what my dad, who worked at IBM, used to always say. I know. He just was horrified. Yeah. No, it's really fun. And I've always really loved writing. So right now I'm in the content part of it, where I'm just like, doing all of the information and which crystals and which goddesses go with which thing, and different mantras. I'm really getting deep in like each chakra, and I'm very excited to
super robust, it sounds like. Yeah, and really like holistic. I even love like you being able to understand what each chakra should sound like, or having a parameter of how to access that. It just feels like a super useful tool. Even go ahead.
It's not an intuitive right away. It's not, I don't want to say it's not easy, but it took me quite a while in practice, just like it does with any of my clients, to be able to really get the sound and get the vibration there. Because when there are blocks, especially pretty much all of us these days, but the root is really having a lot of issues right now. We're disconnected with nature. We're also getting in these times a lot of very there is a lot of light, a lot of whatever you want to call it, high frequency codes coming down, things from the sun, all, I'm going to get woo woo here, but there's a lot coming through our crown chakra and our third eye, especially when we're open and pretty awake, as in this community are. People who are working with me are at least open.
If they're coming to you, then
it's usually not someone who's like wouldn't entertain the idea of like a chakra.
Right.
So the fact that we're getting all of this new frequency information that we really need, and our glands are being stimulated, things are awakening, DNA is awakening, different things that we need access to. It's all coming through the crown, but then like our job in these bodies is to ground that into the earth, and like have our body be the center conduit so that we can anchor it in. It's our job to anchor in the frequency, like the love vibration. That's like what we're here to do. And when you're getting all of this, getting that through and then grounding that into the earth it's a trick, man. It's a thing.
Talking about the root, just like on a very basic level, with the pandemic, with COVID, like totally like wiping out any sense of security. If anyone here, if anyone is living here right now, the root has been incredibly challenged. Security, sense of home, like people talked about how like toilet paper ran out like right away. Like toilet paper is clearing your root essentially. Like people stocked up on that because there's a fear that there's no security in our life, and which is true. It's been total.
Also, I mean, with quarantine and like people, I didn't experience it in this way because I'm in the deep country, but people were not allowed to go outside and put feet in the grass, put feet on the earth. Like you need to be barefoot on the earth, on the regular, or you're not okay. It is how we're designed. We absorb minerals through our feet. We need to do feet. We need to do that work every day and just connect with nature, feel vitamin D and getting the sun on our head, and like the way that we absorb it. You need to be outside. And in the big cities, like Andrea and Elise were telling me, like you really were not even supposed to go outside, but then
Right.
when you were outside, they still wanted you to wear a mask outdoors.
Yeah, it was like that here in Colorado too. Yeah, I know. I would be like the one person in the neighborhood walking the dog where I'm like, I'm keeping 6 feet from everyone. Like, I'm not up in your business. So I'm going to have a mask off so I can breathe. Like, but obviously, like going into a store or whatever, would put it on and do that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I definitely, I mean, I go camping and that's where I get that, but it's like not on a daily basis do I get to, go outside. And I mean, I could, but I don't really, this is my hang up with like grounding, putting my feet in the grass, is that I know how many dogs are in this neighborhood. And I'm like, this grass is just full of piss and like poop. And it really freaks me out. But I do other things like, we have a lot of plants and things like that. I work with the soil. I have a connection with my plants, like my plant Jupiter back in the corner. And then go camping. Very happy. She's like insane, like exploding all the time.
She feels good.
Yeah, it's my office energy, I keep it nice in here. But yeah, I'm glad you shared about that because there's I could sense there's so many things we could talk about. But yeah, I'm trying to think. So is there, I don't see any questions. Oh, Valeria has joined. Hi, Valeria. What did I want to say? You mentioned, so I want to make sure I recap some names that you mentioned. So you mentioned Elise. So I had Elise on to talk about breath work. So if people are curious, you can look up her. I've put all of these in the guides tab. So you can like search through the guides tab. You can see Elise there. You mentioned Valeria. Valeria came in, we talked about just energy healing in general. And I actually had a really bad headache that day. So it was like one of those, we were just talking about energy and headaches too.
Yes. And that's very cool.
Yeah. The headache stuff, that's been something that I've struggled with for a really long time. And it still visits, they still visit here and there, but I feel like it's like information for me to like really take it down a notch. There was somebody else that you mentioned that I want to make sure.
Andrea Donnelly.
Oh, Andrea was in here talking about fairies.
Yes,
so you can find that one.
She's amazing, and she did a celestial soul retrieval for me. That was very, very, very cool. Emma Brereton.
I haven't had Emma in here yet, but she's on my list too. Emma's so sweet and really, really
so
deeply intuitive. Yeah.
Well, she does tarot on Thursdays on Elise.
And Elise is great. Yeah.
Succeed. But then she also does these spirit guide portraits.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing that.
Portraits. Mine is like, I cannot even tell you. She drew this figure that I have dreamt about since I was like 15.
Whoa.
I can't even, it's just like so weird. And then you like look into the eyes and you're like, it's wild. It is. Yeah. She's amazing.
I'm definitely going to ask her if she'll come in and talk about her spirit guide portraits. Writing it down right now. Cause that sounds insane. And I'll just say, I can feel like this happened to me when I was in the awakening with you, but the time when we were like connecting to our like celestial family or spirit guide family, there's like I still have like resistance to doing it, or like there's like the thought of me having an image of what a spirit guide looks like totally freaks me out. Like it totally like rings up something. So I would be curious to explore that with her in conversation, because there's something there makes me not want to do that. Or just like freaks me out. I'm intrigued, but I'm like, kind of like I can feel the like nervousness.
I just didn't even know what to expect. Actually I did. I didn't know she was doing it for me. Like I'm so lucky and I got surprised.
Oh,
wow. When we were in North Carolina all together, it was amazing. But so I would expect for someone who knows me to draw me something very mermaid, because I'm obsessed with mermaids. Have been since birth. Like my whole house is like mermaids. I think.
Yeah. And you don't live by water, right?
No,
No.
desert.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. And I have no water in my chart either. Like,
Interesting.
I just mermaids. I think it's been talking past life, something's major around mermaids, but I expected that to be a thing.
Yeah.
And instead it's this like very shaman looking, and he's wearing like this bear, which I've always had this thing with like Ursa Major and the Big Dipper. Like it's always been I felt really connected to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then in my dreams, it's like you can't describe how profound it is, because there's like those subtle things in your mind that you're just like, no one would ever know that.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. So cool. So cool. Okay. It's softening. The fear is softening.
Yeah.
Like, I'm into a lot of shit, but that for some reason, like that, I mean, because I'm into a lot of shit, I know that's like, oh, I'm curious about what this is. That makes me a little bit like nervy about that. But yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, this was so lovely. I feel like we could keep talking.
I had a blast. I talked to you for hours on end.
For hours.
Oh, Valeria says 2 of her favorite people. Thanks, Valeria. So
yeah.
So I am just so lucky. This has been the best morning, and thank you so much for having me. I cannot wait to do our
coming on. Yes. Yeah. We'll be in touch soon. And I did, for folks who are interested, I dropped, you should see in the overview, I guess they call it that now, the overview in this live, we have Emily's links. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you want to connect further, I'm sure Emily is cool if you DM. Are you okay with DMs
yes,
too?
I love DMs. Yes.
Yeah.
And anyone who's watching, I would love to work with you.
Yeah. Ask any questions if you're seeing the replay. I'll make sure that you get the answers from the right place. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. And I hope you just have a beautiful Friday. And yeah, Emily, we'll be talking soon.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. Bye, guys.